All right. Welcome all to the week 3 Not Shamrock Fantasy Recap. Cheers, everybody, to another successful week of fantasy life. Me personally, last week I was 6-0 in fantasy. It was a pretty good week, coming off a 3-3 opening week. Unfortunately, this week back to 3-3. Should have been 4-2. But apparently Malik Neighbors didn't play this week. I guess he must have had an injury or something. I don't know why he wasn't in the game. Giants fans, you'll have to reach out to me and let me know why he wasn't in there. Jackson Dart going to be playing this week. Big news for Giants fans. So enjoy that. It's always fun rooting for the rookie quarterback to get in there until they get in there, and then all that other stuff starts happening. So anyway, I'm going to turn those lights down a little bit in the back. A little distracting back there. There we go. All right. Let's talk real football real quick. Go Bills. Wasn't the prettiest win in the world, but a W is a W, especially in the division. Dolphins, that was kind of the game I was expecting out of. Liza wants you to know she's going to the bathroom. It was kind of what I was expecting. Everybody on social media and everything was like, "Oh, the Bills are going to beat the Dolphins by 40," but that's not generally how it goes. I was expecting. I thought a little bit more separation than we ended up having, but I was ultimately thinking something similar to the game that we had. So that came to fruition. Like I said, wasn't pretty, but a W's a W. 3 wins in 12 days for the Bills. I'll take it. And then let's see, Jets. I'm going to be honest, Richie was over here. We were watching the games. We were watching Red Zone and stuff like that on Sunday. And I had wrote off the Jets game when it was like 20-6. I was like, we stopped paying attention. And all of a sudden, the next time they showed the Jets game was the blocked field goal, and the Jets taking a 1-point lead. So it shows fight, shows grit. 2 out of 3 weeks, the Jets fought the whole way. Fortunately, the week they did not show any grit or fight was the week against us. But yeah, so props to the Jets for showing some fight, and thank you, Aaron Glenn, for creating a very memeable moment. That was lovely. Baker comes up with a win again. Baker just keeps on winning. I mean, he's got to be in the talks of being. He's got to be in the conversation for the best quarterback in the NFC. I mean, that has to be in the conversation. Probably wouldn't go that far yet, but I mean, who are you arguing for if not him? I mean, that's just something to ponder. So anyway, shout out to the Jets for showing up on Sunday. Wasn't enough to get the W, but a big game in different ways for Jets Dolphins come Monday night this week. Whichever team loses, the season's obviously over at that point. And it's on to showing what you got for the Jets. You kind of came into it. It's a rebuilding year anyway, so it is what it is. The Dolphins, if they lose this week, it's going to be the talk of firing people and things like that. Is start trading off Tyreek and other people at the deadline is going to start to get real loud. Giants, that was a pitiful. Te amo mucho. The Giants, that was a pitiful performance. The Chiefs gave them multiple opportunities to win or at least stay in the game, and they squandered all of them. Russ has been Russ. It is what it is. I'm glad they're going with Jackson Dart. It is what it is. They should have never had Russ in there in the first place. If you're going to do it with Jameis Winston. Let him chuck the ball around, save the money on paying Russ anything. Just let Winston start until the interceptions become too much, and then you throw Dart in there. But whatever, it is what it is. They are where they are now. Another lost season for the Giants. The only way that it doesn't become a lost season is if you find out what you have in Jackson Dart, which is what you needed to do anyway. So whether they win games or not, who cares? The point now is let him show you. Okay, we have a franchise quarterback here. He's everything that we need to see. We're seeing now. I said that during Josh Allen's rookie season. We went 5-11 or 6-10, something like that. But it wasn't about beating anybody. The team was devoid of talent at that point. The idea was, okay, let's look at this kid and see if he has the tools to be the guy. And I was pretty confident at the end of that first rookie year, especially after that first Miami game. I was like, oh, okay, I think he could be the guy. It still took another, the next year we won 10 games, and then the next year we're obviously he's playing the way he's playing now. So it still took to year 3 to really take the big step, but you just want to see that it's there. We already kind of addressed the Dolphins for Marissa. Pats, that was a very winnable game. They should have won that game against the Steelers. The Pats should be the second best team in the division, it's looking like. Now, second best team in this division might be 7-10, so I don't know how much of that means. But the Pats are in a similar situation, like I said, to the Giants. You just need to know that Drake May's the guy. And I think we already kind of know that he is, but you'd like to see a next step in the progression. You'd like to see him win some games and progress from there. So that's really where you're at for the Pats. All right, so I think we got all of our teams. I was having this conversation in my head earlier with myself, so I'm gonna put it out to you guys, and you guys, God damn it, Yankees just blew the lead. They're down 2-1 now. I was having this conversation in my head, and I said, if you had to say right now, this minute, who's the Final Four in each conference? You're going divisional round already, because I was thinking about it with the Ravens-Chiefs game coming up this week, and one of those teams is going to be 1-3 after this week. Even saying that, though, I still think both those teams are in the Final Four. In the AFC, I would not be surprised at all if the Final Four is put them in whatever order you want and playing whoever and home teams, etc. But it's going to be Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, and I would say Burrow usually, but obviously he's not around at the moment. I'm going to say Herbert. So I think those 4 teams, if I had to really go on a limb and predict it already, I'd say Bills. I'm predicting and hoping for the 1 seed. 1 seed Bills hosting the wild card Chiefs. And then I think right now, obviously, Chargers are 3-0, Ravens are 1-2. I still think Ravens win that division, especially with no Burrow. So I'm going to say the Chargers hosting the Ravens, and I think that's your AFC divisional playoffs. And then in the NFC, in whatever order you want to put them in, it's going to be Philly, it's going to be Green Bay, it's going to be Detroit, and it's going to be the Rams, with Baker and the Bucs being a possibility. Just because they're Baker's just, like I said, he's probably playing the best quarterback in the NFC. But that would be my 4 in the NFC. And again, Green Bay and Detroit, you got to decide who wins the division. I still think Detroit's the better team at the moment, despite what happened in Week 1. But Green Bay's already got a leg up on them. They're a game up, and they beat them. So, no, actually, they're not a game up. They're both 2-1. Obviously, Green Bay blew that game against the Browns. But Green Bay does have the game on Detroit in the division. All right, moving on to fantasy football. Let's talk our games. They pull up the matchups. All right, Marissa, tough week. I beat Marissa 131-96. Obviously, the biggest factor in this is that the fact that CeeDee Lamb suffered a high ankle sprain and scored 0 points. I won by 31 plus 4. I won by 35. Would Lamb have scored 35 points? Probably not, but could he have? Absolutely. So I get the win there. She didn't get McConkey, just is not producing at the moment. Just because Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen are getting so much work. Her best game is honestly out of her defense. Her defense getting her 16 points, but I kind of canceled that out with my defense scoring 13. Daniel Jones was good, but not as good as he's been the first 2 weeks. Kyron had a nice game, but other than that, just it wasn't there. Bateman had a nice game on her bench, but nothing on her bench was enough to overcome. In fact, at a quick glance, I didn't see any team that had a bench score that would have put them over the top. For me, my first, second, and third round picks all showed up. Allen, McCaffrey, and Hampton, all with 23-plus points for each one of them. So that was solid for me. So I improved to 2-1. Marissa falls to 1-2. Let's talk. This was my favorite game. Ken had a 1% chance of winning late on Monday Night Football. Delano was looking like he was about to improve to 3-0, and then Ken out of nowhere, David Montgomery goes off for 29.4 points, one of the highest scorers in the league this week. And in that late touchdown where I'm screaming at the TV, I'm saying, go down, go down. It had nothing to do with fantasy. I just wanted him to go down so this way they could run more clock. My thought was this. You guys tell me if you agree or disagree. Yeah, I know the Ravens still had 3 timeouts. But if he goes down at the 1, they have to use a timeout right there. And then you're going to run the ball 2 more times, stay at the 1 or just take a knee, whatever. You're going to timeout. Then on 3rd down, you'll run it again. And either A, he scores the touchdown, and now the Ravens have no timeouts. And so same situation they were in, but no timeouts instead of 3. Or he doesn't score. Fine, you run another 40 seconds off the clock. You're down to 1:10 at that point. And then you kick the field goal from the 1-yard line. Feel pretty good about that. You kick the field goal from the 1-yard line, and you're up 10 with 1:10 and no timeout. So that was my thinking. And then the way the Ravens went right down the field and scored, I got a little nervous about it. But agree or disagree. But if he did go down at the 1, that would not have given Ken the big upset win. So Ken had a 1% chance of win. Montgomery with the long run there at the end, and Ken ends up pulling out 123.86 to 121.72, so a 2.1 point win. Big. And then, like I said, the bench points still weren't even there. All I saw for actually, you know what? I take that back. I said before if he swapped out Diggs for Hollywood, it wouldn't have gotten the points, but I must have been looking at it wrong. Because Diggs for Hollywood would have gotten the points, Travis Hunter, and then Goddard for Warren would have gotten the points as well. So, it is what it is. Delano still all good. He's there at 2-1, and Ken improves to 1-2. Moving on to our next game. Not the low score of the week. Richie, you do not owe $5 for the first time this season. Richie loses, did not win the game. He lost 94.58 to 127 to Shane the Professor, improving to 2-1 in the league. Shane got nice games out of Nico. Shakir scored a touchdown. Pollard got a touchdown. The Pollard touchdown was funny too. So not huge games across the board, but he got kind of consistent production. For Richie, it was just Olave and Judkins was about it, and his kicker. But like I said, Richie does not owe $5 this week. When we were watching the games this Sunday, he goes, I'm playing the Professor. I'm done. I lost already. So so he was beaten before the game started. Moving on, we have. Try this again. All right. We have Justin with the 143.12 win against JJ with the 91.72. JJ is the low score of the week. You owe me $5. And being that JJ is the low score of the week this week, I am sure his team is about to go off for the high score of the week next week, which is convenient since he's playing me next week. For Justin, 32 points out of his defense. That's ridiculous. That was obviously his high score. I think the Vikings defense was like the second highest scorer in the league this week. And the number 1 scorer was Trey Tucker, who's not on anybody's team. 32 points out of the Vikings defense. That's crazy. Keenan Allen with big games. Ken Walker with big games. And then, it is what it is. For JJ, obviously low score. Despite getting almost 30 out of his quarterback with Caleb and 16 out of A-Chain. I mean, those are good starts. But Evans left his game, even though he had 13 points, left his game with a hamstring injury. Connor died. Evans died. Neighbors, like I said, didn't show up for the game. Somehow he got 3.3 points, even though he didn't play. That's weird. 9.3 points for Jacoby Myers. I mean, just bad games across the board for everybody after Caleb Williams and A-Chain. So, yeah, like I said, JJ's team's going off next week. Everyone should just pick everyone on JJ's team for their bet next week because those guys are all going to go off because they're playing against me. Moving on. I believe, I'll have to double check, but I believe our high scorer of the week, the defending league champ, Larry, at 155.72. Against, Kyle with a good showing, 137.46. That would have beat most of the teams in the league, but not enough to beat Larry with the high score. Scattaboo, we talked about him this week. Scattaboo season. St. Brown, Devontae Smith finally showed up. Waddle, Ferguson. His kicker was 17. A lot of high scorers for Larry across the board there. And for Kyle, like I said, he had a good game. Gibbs had 2 touchdowns, scored 27 points. Jonathan Taylor, that's tough. When your running backs are Gibbs and JT, and they combine for, 33 plus 27, that's what, 50 points? 60 points. When your 2 running backs combine for 60 and you lose, that's tough. That's hard to swallow. But T. Higgins with nothing, Tet with very little. Pearsall had a nice game. Benson should have better days coming with Connor being out, but tough loss for Kyle, falling to 1 and 2 there when he had a good game. Moving on, let's see what do we got. The first place Marcel goes down to the newly crowned first place Paul, or should I say Liam? I don't know. Paul's team cracks me up. He started Tank Bigsby this week, who scored 0. 2 weeks ago, he started Chris Godwin, who didn't play. And yet he's 3-0 and in first place. So, make it make sense. For Marcel, obviously, Henry didn't have a very good game. And then Chase Brown has not really been the guy. Tucker Kraft was playing on one leg this week. But overall, his team still was fine. Dak didn't have a good game, but Mason produced, Sutton produced, Odunze produced. He got enough scores, 126. You usually win with an amount like that, but not this week when Paul's got 27 out of Lamar, 22 out of Puka, 14.5 out of Adams, 29 out of Hunter Henry. 8 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. You don't expect that out of Hunter Henry every week, but it got the job done today. And like I said, Paul is 3-0. And then finishing up, we've got Danny. Both my brother-in-law and my maybe brother-in-law is both at 2-1 right now. So congrats, guys. Delano, new to the league, also at 2-1. And keep it rolling, guys. Keep it rolling. I like it. So Danny at 2-1. Courtney falls to 0-3. For Courtney, let's see. Jalen Hurts finally showed up this week, which is nice for him. But Tracy, not much. Got a good game out of A.J. Brown, too. That's a nice stack. But London hasn't really done anything yet. McLaurin not only did not do much, but also got hurt. And for the second time in 3 weeks, Courtney started the Ravens defense, scoring him -6 points. Be better without a defense. And then for Danny, Bijan, James Cook, Tyreek Hill, Pittman, Mark Andrews is the big one. Who saw Mark Andrews scoring 27 points on Monday Night Football after he had scored, I think, 2 or 3 total points the first 2 weeks of the season. So I didn't see it coming, but certainly, obviously, it happened. All right, let's take a look at the standings. We're still early on, but in first place and all by himself is Paul at 3-0. Congrats, Paul. Moving on to the 2-1 teams, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2-1 teams. So currently, if the season ended today, 2 of the 2-1 teams aren't even making the playoffs. So in order, it goes Marcel, Danny, Larry, me, Justin. That's your line of 6 right there. And then you got Shane and Delano. So let's see what the point difference is here. Marcel is, I believe, he's the point leader in the league at 405 because he won the high score the first 2 weeks. Danny is pretty close to him. Danny's only 3 plus 5. He's 8 points behind him. Larry at 389. I'm 5 points behind Larry. And then Justin's 4 points behind me. Then there's a little bit of a gap. You got about a 40-point difference between Justin and Shane. And then about a 10-point difference between Shane and Delano. Moving on to the 1 and 2 teams. You got Kyle and Marissa and Ken and then JJ. And then fighting to not get shot with paintballs right now are Courtney and Rich. Come on, guys. You got this. I believe in you. All right. Let's look at those stupid power rankings. Unless they're treating me better, we'll see. Oh, you know what? I like the power rankings now. They moved me up to second place, so I'm down with it. All right. So let's see. We got the professor moved from 1 back to 6. This is obviously not the standings. This is how ESPN is trending us. Let's see. Neighbors with attitude. That's JJ, right? So 2 back to 10. Paul from 3 up to 1. Marissa from 4 back to 11. Me from 5 up to 2. I'll take it. Justin 6 up to 3. Kyle 7 back to 9. Danny 8 up to 4. Delano 9 to 7. Ken from 10 back to 12. Rich from 11 back to 13. Courtney from 12 back to 14. Look at this move here. The defending champ, Larry, from 13 up to 5. And then Marcel from 14 up to 8. So that is where ESPN currently has us ranked. I want to do one other thing real quick. Instead of getting too much into previewing the next week, I want to continue recapping the previous week. And one of the things I want to recap is our bet. So I believe we were like, let me see. I want to say we hit like 10 of the 14 or 9 of the 14 this week. Let's see where we're at. 14 leg. All right. Nope, that's the week before. There we go. All right, let's see. We hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We went 10 for 14. That's not too bad. We're a little off. So Scadaboo hit, and we were already eliminated by the time the Sunday night game went on. But we took Scadaboo, and somebody took a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I don't remember who. Let's see. Who made us bet on Kelce? I think it was Justin. Justin. Terrible. So we did not hit we did not hit the Kelce touchdown. We lost on the Green Bay game early in the day. Shane had taken Harold Fannin on yards. We did not hit that. And then Ken eventually did actually get back to me. He did say Henry touchdown, and Henry did score a touchdown last night. So Ken, in all fairness to you, the one you did pick would have hit. But I picked for Ken. I thought I picked the safest thing possible, like the most ridiculously easy bet, which was the Green Bay Packers money line against the Browns, and somehow that didn't hit. JT, anytime touchdown, I think that was Kyle, that hit. Daniel Jones hit for Richie. Jalen Hurts hit for Courtney. Garrett Wilson, I picked that one for Kyle. That one hit because I forget what Kyle picked, or he took too long to pick. I took Bijan total yards. That hit. Vikings money line, I believe that was Paul. That hit. Ramondre hit for JJ. Sam Darnold, I think Delano took Sam Darnold. I think Marcel took Justin Herbert. That hit. And then obviously CeeDee Lamb got hurt. And I believe that was Marissa. Did not hit. So like I said, we hit 10 of 14. Not too shabby. I mean, we're getting close. We're getting close. One of these days, we're all going to get our entire league dues paid on this bet. So high score of the week, Mr. Larry. Low score of the week is JJ. And then I just wanted to real quickly address Mazel Tov in the league. Congrats. You guys all contributed to Justin's baby shower gift from the league. Justin had the baby. Well, Val had the baby on Tuesday. And Justin has said that mom and baby are all doing great. Baby Levi, named after the 49ers stadium. I don't think that's true, but we'll go with that since it's Levi Stadium. So congrats to the Kehoes. Congrats on a healthy baby boy, and we look forward to indoctrinating him in fantasy as much as everybody else. And already can't wait to see the little bugger at next year's draft playing with all the kids. All right, so cheers everybody, and be good, do good. God bless, and go Bills.